Hello, welcome everyone back to Building Regime. This is episode 6, where me and Ellis are going to take you through a bit of an update on building the brand regime. And yeah, we've not got loads to update on this week. Obviously, last week was R&D. As we explained, we didn't quite crack the flavouring we were looking for, but we've gone to our manufacturer now and sort of asked for options of how we can explore that further and how we can get a stronger, more sort of potent flavour going forward. So Ellis, do you want to sort of explain a little bit about how they can do that, how we can change the formula to basically make it taste a bit stronger?
Yeah. So obviously, as Hamish mentioned, the big hurdle that we were coming across is it just tasting a bit flat and the fruit from the actual electrolyte not popping through the water as much. So in terms of now, we're currently just working with, I guess you'd call them like the technical manager at the manufacturer, who's the person who sorts out R&D, who can really tell you what's possible and what's not. So he's working with a flavoring house, which is basically a place that concocts flavorings, and they can pretty much create anything that you would want, any flavor profile that you'd want. Kind of the possibilities are endless. So with them, we're just getting them to basically create us a much stronger flavoring of what we had before, but still keeping a natural, clean base. And I guess this is the big hurdle that we need to overcome, because not all of them, but a lot of the other electrolytes out there at the moment use like a maltodextrin basis, which is obviously it's like an artificial base, and it's very sweet, so it really brings out the flavors. We're not able to use that, so we've basically got to go with a natural one. So we're seeing the extent to which we can make it as strong as possible so it tastes nice and potent, but also be natural and super clean. So this is the obstacle we have at the moment. He's actually gotten quite far with it. He's ordered them already, but they're going to take 3 weeks until they're on site. So we've basically just got to hold off for 3 weeks and then get back in for R&D second time.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Because 3 weeks, although it kind of depends how you look at it, could be seen as quick turnaround, but also it feels like it's a long sort of wait.
To be honest, it just feels slow. Like the last week for me has felt really slow because there's not really been much to do, which is annoying. So the time that I usually allocate to the project, I've not had a crazy amount to do, apart from keeping on top of socials and whatnot. But I do that at the beginning of the week and prep it all out in one day. So it's kind of been like in that time, I've just had to find other things to do and feel productive, if that makes sense. So it's a little bit annoying, to be honest. It kind of feels like we're in the same place that we were even before we went through to R&D. But obviously we're not, we're further along and we've got our baseline now. But yeah, it's just felt crazy slow. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. It just feels like, I think with the whole project as a whole, like not just right now, it feels like, I don't know if it's because we're kind of optimistic, but it feels like every point has just comes like at a slower point than we expected. Does that make sense? Like, it feels like we're always trying to push forward, but it's kind of like you kind of have to just let it take time. So yeah, it is frustrating, especially because like now we've been to R&D, people are like, well, you know, you've done it now, so you've surely got the products. We're like, not quite how it works.
No, not quite.
But yeah, it's just tough. And I think I'm going to be more nervous going into the next one because obviously now we kind of know what to expect in terms of how the day's going to run. But obviously if they don't have the flavouring that we like, or if we're not happy with the product at the end of it, it's going to be like, well, we're going to wait another 3 weeks again to do this again. So it's sort of tricky.
Yeah, I think something else that's hard as well is that when you see other brands who are maybe launching at similar times, really making moves as well, and then you're just sitting there like, what can we do? But that's the thing, because we're just constantly waiting on these delays, and then it actually becomes harder to make even like content, because obviously we're documenting this thing in public, right? But it's very hard to create content when you've not got that much to talk about, because not much has changed from the week before. So that's been my biggest struggle this week, like trying to keep the socials going, building that traction, but it just kind of feels like you're rinsing and repeating, if that makes sense, because there's not that much to update on. So maybe that's just a lack of our imagination, though. Maybe we just need to be more creative.
Well, yeah, you said to me earlier in the week, I think it's kind of a good opportunity, really, if we kind of take the real positive angle. It's a good opportunity for us to try and be as creative as possible on the things we can do. And I think if we dive into that, really sort of throw ourselves fully into trying to be as creative as possible and trying to bring new ways we can kind of show people the brand. And I don't just mean people through our social media accounts, because a lot of those people are friends, family. Okay, now we're starting to get a bit more interaction with other people as well, which is great. But really, like how we can actually get the brand out there in general is going to be quite a. I think it's going to be a fun way of, well, a fun thing to do. But I think it's something we need to do, especially now we know we've got a bit of time where other things are going to take a sort of backseat. I think it's a good opportunity to really dive into that and see what we can do in that respect. Because I think it's really relevant. Like you mentioned, other brands are kind of launching at the same time. Obviously, there's one we know exactly who we're talking about because we keep getting sent the video online, and they've just got big investment, which is great for them. But it's hard to not compare yourself to other people, especially when they're in the same spot as you. So how's that like made you feel, and how's that like process in your head?
To be honest, just like highlights, we just need to step our game up because like you can build traction without having a product in hand. This is the thing. So I just think it's an excuse if we're like, I think it's an excuse if we just say, oh, look, we've got to wait until we have the product to then get people trying it and then get their reactions. Like, it's not true because you don't have to do that. So I think because, like we were saying before, because this whole project is kind of what we make it, I think we need to be more creative in making it rather than kind of just doing what you think you should do as key events happen, if that makes sense. Yeah. So rather than just being a brand who waits until they have product in hand and then goes out, gets people to try it, and just, like the standard things that you see brands that often don't even do well do. We need to think outside the box more. And then when opportunities like this do arise, because yes, it's 3 weeks delay on the product launching, but if you're still building traction on your wait list, when you launch, you're going to have a more successful launch anyway. So it's not like the time is wasted. It's just, are you using it how you could be, or are you not? So we need to be more the first one where we're just using our time well, basically. Yeah, and being more creative.
100%. Yeah, I think I've spoken to a few people about that in general anyway. And again, the feedback I get is like, you can't compare yourself to other people as well, because like their journey is completely different to yours. Their circumstances are completely different to yours. It's one of those things like, if you just judge your progression on everyone else, you're just not going to go anywhere, because it's just going to be constant knockdowns. If we judge our sort of social media on a professional brand with a professional team and everything like that, like, of course, we're never going to produce the same quality, but it's not to say that we still can't produce quality stuff. I think that just dragging inspiration from those brands and those people and what they do, and looking into more of like, well, like they've done that and that's really cool and creative and that's done well for them. What can we take from that? And can we take any inspiration and kind of push it forward in our own way and like kind of do our own spin off of it? So yeah, I think obviously it's frustrating to see at the start, but I think now I'm at a point where it's also really inspiring to see that this sort of stuff can be done. There's no reason we can't do the same thing either. It's just like you say, it's just being proactive and creative in what we're sending out there.
Yeah,
I'm pretty inspired by it, to be honest.
Yeah, because I have a real tendency to be quite reactive. Like when I see stuff like that, it really it makes you really second guess yourself. If that makes sense. Yeah. But I think you just need to have a more level-headed approach. And then it's actually an all in all a positive, because it makes you step your game up. Like if you have loads of people who are all kind of, I mean, look, like our product is going to be actually different because no one's going with our approach. But at the end of the day, it is an electrolyte, right? So most people will see it as this broad product. So if we go from that angle, it's actually good if you have a load of good, healthy competitors, because then it actually pushes you forward. Like if we wouldn't have seen kind of some of the moves that other people are making, we would have never even been having this conversation. So I think it's just, you just need to, but then when you do see it, you need to make sure that you're acting as well. Otherwise, you just, drive yourself mad. That's the thing. Can't do that.
Yeah, I think, well, like I say, like it's like anything. It's not just in like business or this, but like in anything, competition's good. Especially I'm competitive stuff, like I love it. So having people to like chase, or having someone that's maybe on paper doing better than you, it's like, right, we've got some beat, like let's go. Let's do it. So yeah, I think I do think it's positive, genuinely, and again, like I said, I think it's just inspiring.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Right. I mean, there's not loads else to update people on this week. It's been one of those weeks, really. Not loads to feedback on. Obviously, like you say, we're hopefully going back in 3 weeks to do our second R&D run, and again, we'll keep people posted on all of that. in the meantime, I guess we'll just probably have to sit down and try and brainstorm or mind map how we're going to get regime out there a bit more in kind of the most creative way possible.
I think that's it, isn't it? Actually, just one final question before we finish up then. So as you said, like being quiet and whatnot, how do you deal with that then? Like, what's your thing?
To be honest, I think like it just frustrates me. I kind of tend to write loads of stuff down. I never really like, for example, just got like little notes. Just got notes in here like about different things, and they're all really random. Like some of them are about the pod and what we can speak about. Some of them are about kind of the socials. I think my routine's changed in my life anyway. So I go to the gym in the morning, but when I'm in the sauna in the morning, I use that time to really think about the project and like different ways in which we can, different things we can do. The main concern for me has been the taste. So I've just been thinking a lot about that. So I don't know. I think I've been in a weird space where it's kind of just a lot of thinking about different alternatives and kind of different ways we can do it. I mean, I've got an idea. I'll switch it off camera because it's a bit rogue. Yeah, just like that, really. It's kind of tense.
I think that's the thing. It's very hard, isn't it? Because like you want to be doing things, but in some regards you can't. So say with speeding up the product and getting it made, we actually can't rush that. So it's one of those things where you've got this time which you want to be using, because we've both got that very like, I don't know what you'd call it, like a productive gene maybe, where you always want to be pushing, but you can't. So I think the key is, to be honest, what I do is there's two things. One, I make sure I have something else that I'm like working towards. So for me, that's my training. So say like before it was like towards the high rocks I just did.
Yeah.
Then you've got something else that you can like push towards. I think that's really important. Otherwise, if the regime thing stops, you've got nothing, which isn't good and healthy. So I think that's one thing. And then another one is exactly the same as you. It's just like writing down and like objectively, what can I be doing right now that's actually going to push it forward rather than just being busy, which is my tendency. And then, kind of gets helpful. But anyway, that might be insightful for someone.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I think that's a good shout. Because I mean, I'm doing that subconsciously. Like, I'm proper into my fitness and training right now. Like, it's probably the most I go through phases like ups and downs with it, but like, this is probably the most I've been like really tracking everything, like calories in, calories burn, everything. And I guess that gives you another focus outside the project. But in terms of the project, it's tough because like I said, if you're just thinking about stuff that could happen, it's not actually productive. It's just like...
No, wasted time.
But it gives you ideas and things. But it's really hard. It is really hard. Is that kind of everything, you think?
That's all. Yeah.
Sweet. So as always, if you're not following us, follow us on the pod at Building Regime. That's on Spotify and here on YouTube. And also follow us on our socials on Instagram, TikTok at Drink Regime. And make sure you join the waitlist, which is in the bio to every single one of the accounts. And you can be in with a chance to win a year's supply of regime once we launch. So, see you guys in the next one.
See you soon.